Good afternoon from the Circus Sports of the Main Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Ross Johnston. In some NFL and Titans news, the New York Giants are hiring former Titans head coach Brian Callahan as their new quarterbacks coach and passing game coordinator. Callahan helped coach quarterbacks at multiple stops throughout his career before becoming the Titans head man in 2024. Vanderbilt bounced back last night as they defeated Auburn 84-76 on the road. Tyler Tanner led the Commodores with 25 points, and Carolina transfer Jalen Washington chipped in 22. Vandy will host Texas A&M on Saturday. The Vols look to bounce back tonight as they head to Starkville to take on the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Tip-off is set for 8 p.m. Central, and you can listen to Vol Network's coverage of the game right here on The Zone starting at 7:30. For all your foundation repair, waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans of Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by all four Seasons Garage Stores. 615-737-1045 is the number. Got a lot to get to today. I want to start off, though. Like, this could be old man screaming at clouds kind of stuff, so just prepare yourself.
Oh, we did a segment for me?
Yeah, well... I went and walked my dogs when I got home from the show yesterday. Come back, and inside my door handle is a piece of paper. And I open up the piece of paper, and it's a Girl Scout in the neighborhood introducing herself, and with a QR code to buy the cookies. Now, my wife was home, so she never rang the doorbell or anything, which I do appreciate. But man, is that totally different from when I was growing up. Like I had to go and sell. Like my parents, I don't know there's a lot of parents that do this. My parents wouldn't even take we sold gift wrapping paper a lot. Like my parents wouldn't even take the catalog for the gift wrapping paper to their work. I had to do it. Like I had to go around office to office, employee to employee. I had to go around to door and talk to people and have people skills. And I just saying,
works.
I'm probably still going to buy Girl Scout cookies because I do at least appreciate being asked.
Oh, yes.
But it feels a little lazy to me.
Well, I mean, hey, man, that's just the way, that's where it's gone now. But you do have a lot of values. I know my son did a lot of that. I was like, we're not behind him. You go around and start knocking on people's doors. Yeah, you learn
Nobody
a lot
likes their door being knocked on anymore. So, I mean, me included.
Yeah, me too. Well, my wife more so than me. She's like, I'm not getting that. You get it. Also, if it's a gunman, you want me to get shot. She said, absolutely.
But I guess it does say, though, like, okay, maybe maybe lazy's not the right word, and maybe it is more respectful. It's just, it feels like maybe this younger generation is not learning the people skills necessary that you kind of need to start building at that young age.
Especially, when you get turned down and how do you handle that, and then you start thinking of different, ways to talk to people to get them to buy. You start being a little creative because you want to see if you got a little competitive nature in you, in sales. So that's
and maybe she's the only one out of the neighborhood that gets all the sales in the neighborhood because she provided a little bit of convenience.
Very, very valuable.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Girl Scout cookie?
I'm a Tagalongs guy.
Yes.
The peanut butter and the chocolate. Here's my hot take. I think Samoans and Thin Mints are way overrated.
Samoan?
Yeah.
Oh. I haven't had
Samoans, whatever it's called.
Those are my top three.
Samoans. I was like, Samoans.
Whatever they're called. The ones with the coconut, right? They have coconut on them or something. That's the ones I'm thinking of. But Thin Mints, I just don't like the minty flavored candy stuff.
Yeah, I've never been a Thin Mint guy type, just in general. Anything chocolate or chocolate chip or something.
Those tagalongs, you could eat them just like that.
Yeah,
They're addictive.
My probably that will be one of the bigger hot takes I have is that I think Thin Mints are way overrated. I think they're actually the worst Girl Scout cookie.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. We should ask people then, what's their favorite Girl Scout
cookie? Call in.
Cookie?
What's your favorite Girl Scout cookie?
I think we're all like, what?
All right. So last night it was announced that Ed Sala Ahmed Saleh is his full name, but he goes by Ed, according to a couple of the school websites that he's worked for. Ed Saleh was hired as defensive quality control coach. And this kind of sent people into a weird, like, nepotism hire, and all that kind of stuff.
Really?
Stuff that really doesn't matter to me. For a defensive quality control coach, now this is a guy that has worked at Northern Michigan, that I at least can find. It's very hard to find information. But Northern Michigan and Wayne State, at Northern Michigan, he was an assistant coach with the safeties, and then with Wayne State linebackers, a special teams coach there. Now, it's a defensive quality control coach position. If he was getting linebacker position, maybe we can have a little conversation about a family member doing a friend for a favor for another family member. I mean, I don't really know I don't have his full coaching history in front of me. That would be quite the leap to go straight to linebackers coach. But defensive quality control coach, I think we got to let this one slide. I don't think there's any real issue anyway. And listen, the NFL's just built on this anyway, so who cares?
I'm just going to say this. Bill and Brian Callahan, aren't they related?
They are related.
Never heard anything about nepotism there. Well, why is that different?
I mean, you know why it's different? Because Bill Callahan was the quote-unquote offensive line guru and going to fix the offensive line. But how do you think Brian Callahan got his first job? You don't think Bill Callahan pulled a few connections?
So, it's just funny when it becomes on the other side of this, when it just happened. It literally just happened. And they've made them leave another organization to come here.
Yeah.
So they had to go through some loopholes.
Well, how many Kubiaks are floating around?
I'm like, come on, man.
I was going to say, too, like, if the defense starts playing bad, are you going to be like, dang, he shouldn't have hired his brother to be a defensive quality control coach? Come on now.
Let's get serious, man. I have no problem with any of that at all.
I think it's ridiculous.
I don't care if it's at lower level, upper level. It really, I really don't. If he's qualified to do exactly what he's doing. If he gets a job that you say, I don't know, that's a stretch.
Right.
Like, we made him the DC? Really?
Right.
He was No, then it becomes an issue.
Well, and to be honest, Robert Saleh didn't give this guy a job when he was at the Jets, so it's not a pattern of behavior when he was head coach of the Jets for 4 years. So obviously, whatever Ed Saleh has done behind the scenes that over at at least these two colleges, Northern Michigan and Wayne State. I don't know if there's more, but that's all I can find. But whatever he's done, he trusts him to get the tape. That's pretty much what it is. It's all grunt work, defensive quality control coach. And it's a great way to get your foot in the door for other positions. And it's a good starting position. I mean, that's where Art Smith started. Jonathan Gannon started. You can go down the list. Almost everybody at some point started a defensive quality control coach or offensive quality control coach.
Well, I'm going to tell you, as a player, I knew those people firsthand. Because they were the one giving me, I was in the area with, you had to get the tape.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, man, I want this, and this. Instead of, sometimes you watch it at the facility, but I wanted to take them home just in case I wanted visibility to watch them on my own time. And so, I knew every last one of those guys.
My favorite are like, well, what about all the other qualified candidates? Yeah. And I go, or some people even say more qualified candidates. I go, how do you even know this guy's not qualified to do this job?
I mean,
that's such a leap. That's a hateful leap, it feels like in my mind, that people just want to be angry about something.
Or upset. Yeah. It's just, he's qualified to do the job that he's getting hired to do. So I really don't have any issue at all. If he had a lot of experience and then maybe made him defensive coordinator assistants, I wouldn't have a problem with that. But if he gets a job, you go, man, that one there's a stretch. Maybe like if he hired him as the DC, but knowing he's calling the plays.
Right.
Like,
that one would be fishy.
Yeah,
even going to linebackers coach would be a little fishy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So this is interesting that I'm reading in the Northern Michigan Wild bio right here. Saleh earned a Bill Walsh Fellowship opportunity, a coaching opportunity, with the San Francisco 49ers, where he gained experience coaching in one of the top defenses in the NFL in 2021 when Saleh was already with the Jets. So he's actually, it's a Bill Fellowship thing, but he's had a job. So, just throwing it out there, I don't know, the people that want to get up in arms about this or I'm like, this, if anything, you should just be indifferent. right? Like, you don't have to be, I'm not sitting here saying that Ed Sala is a great hire and this is amazing. I just don't get the sense of why are we jumping into, oh man, nepotism. This is a bad hire when we have no clue if he's qualified to do the job. And I would bank that he probably is, given his kind of defensive history and defensive background, that he can at least pull tape.
Right. I mean, I bet all those people who were upset couldn't even tell you who were the quality control people for the offense and defense last year.
I would guarantee.
Are we freaking kidding me, man?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, in fairness, like, I could see how at first glance you see it and you're like, oh boy, here we go again, family member staff hire. But you got to take a step back, and like you're saying, like, it really ain't that big of a deal. You know, it's not comparable to last year's situation at all, in my mind.
And I didn't hear anybody say anything about that.
Yeah.
Until we started playing real bad.
Did they?
I think, like, at least this year.
Well, I mean, again, all the Shanahans, all the Kubiaks filtered in through here, and a lot of those are friend hires as well. Like, you know, a lot of these guys get their start that way anyway. Mm-hmm. But it's definitely like, it's not that big of a deal. People.
Oh, yeah, Belichick's son, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Got both Belichicks floating around in the coaching world.
Staff, together.
Yeah.
He hired his son. Yeah. And he was in an elevated position.
And they were winning games, so nobody cared.
Until they won forward.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, it's like, if he was linebacker coach or even defensive coordinator, which are both stretches anyway, but let's say he was, then maybe we can have a little bit of a conversation. But as of right now, defensive quality control coach, if you are anywhere near upset, annoyed, angry, whatever negative emotion you may have towards this hire, it should just be indifference, because you're likely never really going to hear from him after this again, because he's going to be up in a room cutting film, in a dark room, just cutting film, drawing plays, drawing defensive plays. I mean, pretty much what defensive quality control coaches do.
Yeah, I don't know if they do anything about drawing no plays, but they definitely cut up the film from practice to game film to situational football. Let's say I used to get all the 3rd and 7+, all the 3rd and 3. You know, he breaks it down like that, and he's the one that actually puts it in the system. So then you can just watch it, and now they can put them on a laptop. So he's the guy that he's not part of any game planning. Like, he may give them information.
Right.
And that's part of the game plan. They may
say, hey, we need this team's 3rd and 3, like you just said. Mm-hmm. What do they do on 3rd and 3? Show us some tapes, show us some looks, put together some of that stuff.
Yeah, he will be in those meetings, you know, like how the game plan is put together, but he's not that person.
Yeah. People just get up in arms about the weirdest stuff.
Man, this is hilarious.
I think I'll call him quality control coach Jesus or guru.
Wow. He's a defensive quality control coach guru. That's a mouthful, by the way.
Actually, it's a great way to start in the league and start, learning the fundamentals of what it takes to be a coach. And you get to see, actually, if you want to even really move forward in coaching with this job right here, because they are doing a lot of long hours and a lot of cutting up film. I mean, sometimes they are 2 and 3 games ahead, too, by the way.
Right. Mm-hmm. All right, coming up next, Adam Schefter had an interesting little comment about what the league views as the quality of this free agency and draft class, what it could mean for some certain kinds of transactions. We'll talk about that next and how it may affect the Tennessee Titans' cover, too, with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. Hey, it's Zach Lyons. If you wear glasses, you already know the struggle. I'm constantly looking for them, waking up blind without them, knocking them off the nightstand, and don't even get me started on vacation. Swimming, forget it. Fogging up, smudges, scratches. My whole day revolves around these things so that I can see. And the truth is, I've been dealing with blurry vision for years. Glasses help, but they're also a hassle. And lately, I've been seriously thinking there has to be a better way. That's when I started hearing from colleagues here at Cumulus who had vision correction done by Dr. Horn at Vision for Life, and every single one of them said the same thing. They wish they'd done it sooner. So I did my homework I read the reviews and decided it was time. I'm going to have my vision corrected by Dr. Horn in just a few weeks, and I'll walk you guys through the experience step by step, before, during, and after. If you're tired of dealing with glasses, contacts, or blurry vision, don't keep putting it off. Call Vision for Life at 615-436-2020 or visit visionforlife.com to schedule your consultation. I'll keep you posted, and trust me, I'm excited to finally see clearly. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. Get out your calendar, because coming up in the NFL, February 17th through March 3rd is the window to use. Teams can use their franchise tags. February 23rd through March 2nd is the NFL Combine. March 9th through the 11th, free agency legal tampering window. I love that they the legal tampering window designation on that.
Which means then it's illegal.
Yeah. March 11th at 4 p.m., 3 p.m. Central Standard Time is when free agency begins. And then April 23rd through the 25th is the NFL Draft. So speaking of that, franchise tag windows is coming up. You also have the free agency window coming up. That means it's time to talk a little bit about some roster construction. We have done that for the last couple of days, but I came across a video clip this morning of Adam Schefter on his podcast talking about how this league views both the free agency class and this draft class and what it could possibly mean for the trade market. Here's what Adam Schefter had to say.
What can you tell us about the 2026 free agent class?
I've had GMs, front office executives, scouts who have been looking at this free agent class and saying, not a great class. These teams have done a great job at tying up their own players long-term and making sure that they don't get to free agency. When we talk about the draft, and we'll see how it shakes out over time, people aren't all that excited about the draft either. So we got a free agent class that's not real deep. We've got a draft that is not considered real deep. And you know what that tells me, Dan?
More trades?
That's what it tells me. It tells me we may get more wheeling and dealing in trades than we've had in other years. I don't know that it'll happen, but it certainly seems to be a trend in recent years. Teams have been more apt and open to make big trades. We saw it at the trade deadline. Each of the last few years, especially this past year, teams are unafraid about making a big deal. And with this free agent class, in the eyes of some, considered to be a little bit subpar, and with this draft class considered to be, in the eyes of some, a little subpar, it wouldn't surprise me if we saw an uptick in trade activity.
I mean, that's an interesting take. And listen, trades, even this last trade deadline was actually a little active, more so than most NFL active trade deadlines. Yeah, it was. Mm-hmm. I don't know the complete list, but like for an example, Elgton Jenkins, I read this morning on a Packers website, Elgton Jenkins may be...
Who's that?
He's the center for the Green Bay Packers. He was drafted to be an interior offensive lineman out of Texas A&M. He's 30, so that would probably be 6-7 years ago is when he was drafted. Very good center. He's been a very good interior offensive lineman even when he was at left guard, I believe, when he first got in the league, but he moved to center. Very good center, but he's coming off a season-ending injury. He's got a $20 million cap hit. They got two young guys that could probably, they feel comfortable replacing him with. But that is a guy that, yeah, he could get cut, but typically those guys get cut fourth or fifth day, before the fourth or fifth day when the league year starts on March 11th. Mm-hmm. So that is a guy that could, in what Schefter is kind of describing, be a guy that some team will trade for, right? Like instead of letting him get cut and him testing the market, maybe you can work out a deal and you trade a fifth or fourth round pick. Now, here's the question, though, that comes with the Tennessee Titans. I guess the first question should be, is there any kind of player that doesn't have to be a player specific? It may just be position specific. But is there any way that in your mind that you view the Titans as buyers in this offseason? Because I just don't see why they, based on what they have said about how they feel about draft picks, where this team is at in its, I guess, roster building phase, I just don't see a real need to trade away picks for players, even if it is a Max Crosby, even if it is some people say Justin Jefferson may be on the trade block. That I don't think he is, but some people say. I just don't think there's a reason to make a big trade. Now, if you're talking like a 6th round pick for a guy that's, maybe a linebacker on the last year of his contract that's not going to be re-signed by his current team, I could see it. But as far as big trades, I just wouldn't be thinking they were going to be in the market for trading picks for that.
This is a tough one because the league is kind of transforming. What Adam Schefter said, even before last season and then during the season, there were more trades than it had ever been before, really, and that I can remember. And sometimes it's just a wave. It just depends. If I'm the Titans, man, I don't know if I would be trading for a big name. Just think about this now. As on paper, it looks great. Oh, Max Crosby. Well, how much you're giving up? How much he's missed games the last couple of years. Great player. I'd love to have him. But then how much you're giving up thinking about, do you think Max Crosby really wants to come here? Not unless you overpay him.
Yeah.
Because guess what? If he wants out of the Raiders, we're somewhat in the same situation. He probably wants to go to a playoff contending team. So I just don't know if that type of trade is feasible. What would be feasible is you use a second-tier player like you said, Jefferson. That's not second-tier.
That's definitely not second-tier.
Well, how about the guy on the other side of him?
Oh, Jordan Addison, who's had a little bit of issues here and there.
I know, but I'm just using that as
that's
example,
a good example.
Because then that guy could come in and be 1B with 1B Ridley.
Yeah.
See? And, we can sell him 2 or whatever you want to call them. And then you add that to he's still young, so the dynamic of age is great in the room, but he's had some success, and there's something about him that you feel like he could be, turned into one, at least some games or 2. I'm just using him as an example, not to say trade for him because I don't know what his off-field issues were.
Right.
Passed up, gotten passed now, but that is something that I would consider if it was a mid-round pick, depending on what I thought, whether it's that position or another position group that you think you're probably not going to get. Probably you think you can get a player like him in the draft, maybe second or third round. But, that's the only thing I would consider. I think you're right on point with, I don't think this organization and the way that, the brass up top have talked to GM Bergonzi, that they want to build a team from ground up. And I don't know if they really want to trade in for a big name, big player, unless you just can't pass it up. I would keep my draft capital right now. Now, what I do think, buyers or sellers, I'm not sure. But imagine this, guys. I just thought about this while I was driving here. Okay, they were talking about Pollard, and I say, I would keep him. But guess what? If somebody offered me value, because he could bring value to their team, whoever would want him, I'd give up and give me a third. I don't know what his value would be, but he's a quality back. Maybe some people would say, hey, man, watch this. Seattle may say, we're going to lose Walker, but we match him up with Charbonnet. Guess what? Oh, now we still cooking. Maybe Charbonnet takes the lead. I don't know, coming off an ACL, and maybe we can work with Pollard, and Pollard could be our number 1 till he gets up to speed. See, and they still win. They still competing for a championship. So I don't, and then we all of a sudden now is in the hunt for, Mr. Love. At 4.
I'd be happy. See, one guy would be happy.
See, so you just don't know what could happen with things or players like that. Like you go, man, he's a good player, not an elite player, but a really good player. So, if somebody offered the Titans, I think they would be open to listening if they want to give them something of value. So I think they're in between here on, buyers or sellers. I don't think they're going to be in the buying game. I just think they can wait in the draft. But I think they would be sellers of, some pieces, because they don't have a lot of pieces that I think a lot of people would really want.
Well, and I think if you're talking about maybe B
or
plus,
T. Higgins, let's use him. T. Higgins.
If you're talking about B plus players, right?
Yep.
You're looking for players that are going into the last year of their contract. Those are typically the guys that people are like, well, we know we're not going to extend them. Let's go look at a guy like that.
Well, I'm also open, as I mentioned, all these players have contracts.
Yeah.
So I'm open to that as well. I don't know if Adam Schefter was really saying that, but a proven player that I know what he's going to make. I don't know what's T. Higgins at. I don't know, $25 million or so. Yeah. And he's really going to be.
He's up in the 30s. Can you look up 30?
That? Whoa, good Lord.
Yeah.
Man, I
know they spent like $50-something million on their 2 wide receivers.
I know. Ooh, Chase got 35, maybe?
Maybe.
Could be
I'll have
close.
him look it up.
I think I want to remember that was in the 20s, but I don't know. It could be 28, 29. But I'll be open to that because I feel like, you're going to get value. You have him really, Alec Almera. I mean, then you start looking around like, and then you draft a guy like third round again. I think you got that position solidified. And you're playing to move forward without really after this coming season if you don't trade him or cut him. See? So I think you got to start stacking like that and thinking like that. I don't think it's just because somebody's in the last year of their contract.
Well, I was just going to say, like,
at least for me.
It's not just that for me, but what I'm saying is, like, okay, Kayvon Thibodeau, Jermaine Johnson. Mm-hmm. They have this year is their last year of their rookie contract. Mm-hmm. I picked those two guys because they have ties to two coaches on this staff. Brian Dable for Kayvon Thibodeau and Jermaine Johnson for Robert Saleh. If you could trade like a 6th-round pick for one of those guys, and maybe you only get 1 year of their efforts, they may hit free agency and net you a comp pick. Or they're really good, and you can extend them in-house. Mm-hmm. And I look at guys like some wide receivers. Obviously, Puka Nacua is not going to hit free agency. I mean, I'd be very surprised. But guys like Christian Watson, Michael Pittman Jr., Chris Olave's been very up and down with the Saints about his status being there. Those are some guys you could maybe target and do something with. Chris Olave, probably too expensive for this purposes. But like Michael Pittman Jr. and Christian Watson, those could be guys you may want to target. Guys like that, on top of the guys that you're talking about, proven guys in this league, it doesn't have to be either or, but those are some other options.
I want to punch into that. I want you to answer this, is that what if you trade for them and then they come up and they're just okay? You're almost forced to give them an extension because you traded for them, and they were just an okay player.
Yeah, that could be.
You know what I mean?
Depending on the pick. If, like, I'm maybe underselling these guys, giving them 6th-round picks. But, like, if you're giving up a third, first off, I wouldn't do it.
I don't think they do it. That's what I'm saying. I don't think
But to your point, yeah, if you give up a certain amount of draft capital, you're going to be beholden to make sure it works.
Oh, if you're the GM, you better make it work. And then the coach could be like, but we can get a better, we got to give him an extension.
Right.
You're kind of forced into this corner because you got to justify giving up that pick as a GM. So I don't know, that's a little more risky. That's why I don't know about the end of a year of a contract, and people know they're not. There's always going to be a couple guys, a handful of guys that are like that. That teams may, we're outpriced. We're not going to give him an extension. Well, if you didn't want him, then was it because he wasn't good enough?
Yeah.
That's going to cross my mind, and I'm going, something is missing. Why wouldn't they give this guy an extension?
I will say this, T. Higgins, I looked it up because I also wanted to look up something.
Yeah, what did he get?
So he's getting
28
and some change, $28.75 million a year. But also, if the Bengals were to trade him, they would save $15.2 million in cap space. So they would be beneficial. They don't need the cap space this year, but it would be beneficial if you gave up. That would be a player you would have to give up maybe a 2nd or a 3rd for.
What was his stats last year? He missed some games for that.
He always missed some games.
That hammy.
That's why I've never been a big T. Higgins guy. I love him when he's on the field. Love how he plays, but he's rarely on the field, it feels like.
Well, I just know he's a phenomenal athlete. And being in hometown kind of sometimes put pressure on you to play maybe through some of those injuries. I just remember watching him playing basketball, 360 dunking in the game, and alley-oop and dunking. It was just like, whoa, dang, man, this guy's incredible.
This was the most games he's played since – this season was the most games he played in a season since 2022. But he's only played a full season once.
Yeah. What's his
and last year he was 846 yards, 14.3 yards per reception, catch rate of 60.2%. He averaged 56.4 yards per games, but he did have 11 touchdowns. He put back the last 2 seasons, he's had 10 and 11. But that's also Joe Burrow. But as an example, in a vacuum, that would make sense. 3rd round pick, maybe with the future 4th that turns into a conditional pick of some sort.
Don't like the injury history, though.
I hate the injury history. But in a vacuum, that's the kind of player you may want to target if you're the Titans. Someone that's still relatively young, right? I mean, that's a guy that's going to turn, he just turned 27.
Dang.
Just turned it January 18th. He's still relatively young. And you know what you're getting out of him.
He only had, and he missed a lot of games. And just think what's the kid from the Green Bay that's a free agent? Dobbs, what's his name?
Yeah.
He had 700, didn't miss any games.
Yeah.
743 or something.
Yeah. I can't.
Green Bay's receiver room.
Me either. I'm just trying to compare a guy that's actual free agent, his production in all 17 games and some playoff game, and then now a guy who's missed games, and it's probably a better talent. It's just he misses games. Crap.
But this is the whole point of roster building, though, right? Because there's no right way to skin a cat. And when you're kind of looking at it, it's like every team's in a different stage of its roster life cycle. Every team can take different chances because of the quarterback they have, or the wide receivers they already have, or the edge defenders they already have. They could take different chances. In this particular team, it's a little bit more difficult for me to part ways with draft picks.
Yeah, it's tough.
Because if you look at we'll talk about it a little bit later, but if you look at the rosters of the teams that made it to the Final Four of the NFL playoffs, they have a lot of homegrown talent. And a lot of that homegrown talent is drafted players. And the Tennessee Titans, because of the draft classes of John Robinson, and maybe you could look at the 2023 draft class on top of that, Rand Carthon's first draft class, this team does not have a lot of homegrown talent that were drafted players. So that is kind of the recipe for success, is to constantly, again, draft, develop, retain is not a novel idea, and it's a lot harder to stick with it for some teams, but every team wants to do it. This team has not done it, and I just don't think you're in a position to give away draft picks.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Oh, all I was going to say was, speaking of, Dobbs and that Packers receiver room, I remember yesterday we were talking about Jawan Jennings and saying, he was essentially wide out one in San Fran this year. So, and we kind of saw what it was. So, do we really want to get him? Dobbs' thing is interesting with me because they all deal with some injuries, but they have, Dobbs, Watson, Golden, Wicks, all these guys to where so many different guys are touching the football.
Jaden Reed, Tucker Kraft included in that.
I almost wonder if him here, he would have a bigger role just because we don't have that, I guess, that deep of a receiver room maybe.
But they also all got injured last year, right? Besides Dobbs. He was pretty much the one constant, the healthiest wide receiver, and he led the team in targets.
He missed any games?
Well, Watson gets hurt every year.
Yeah.
So
but that's the thing is all those guys get hurt, and he's kind of still proven to be a number two. And he may be a one, but you got to remember, 4th round draft pick. I know that doesn't really mean a lot in the big scheme of things, but that is kind of telling you where the ceiling kind of goes.
It's St. Brown.
Yeah, well, St. Brown has already shown what he is. You know what I'm saying?
They gave a big contract.
And that's the point. Is the guys that showed it have already shown it. St. Brown showed it. Puka Nacua showed it right off the bat. Yep. Dobbs didn't. And I don't think, I know a lot of people want to use the excuse I saw it in the chat yesterday is there's so many mouths to feed in Green Bay. I don't think that's a real valid excuse in today's NFL. If you're a one, you're a one. Right? I mean, that's just kind of where it's at. Can Dobbs be a high-end two? I think that's his ceiling. But just like Alec Pierce, I don't think that either of those guys are a one. You're not going to find a wide receiver one in free agency. Guess what? The Titans thought they were going to outsmart everybody and sign a wide receiver one in Calvin Ridley. And guess what he proved to be? A wide receiver two. A very good wide receiver two.
Oh, by the way, on Pierce, I'm hearing through the grapevine that they're going to trade Pittman and sign
That's what
Pierce.
I heard. That's what I heard.
Oh, so would Pittman be on your end? Now, granted, they wouldn't trade him in the division. I know they probably would never do that. But
a lower cost T. Higgins for me would be fine.
Okay.
I would rather trade. I don't know what his real trade value would be, like a 5th round pick, maybe 4th round pick. I would rather trade for Pittman using a 4th round pick than draft a guy in the 4th round, because I know what Pittman is at that point. And I think Pittman is better than Dobbs. Pittman has shown that he can technically, it's a low end wide receiver one, but he can be that guy. So I don't know,
I'm on your own point.
I'm just not there with the whole Pierce as a wide receiver. I think let me tell you this. If the Colts trade Pittman and sign Pierce, they'll regret it. I think they'll eventually regret it.
Because they're somewhat the same in a sense, different styles. But they're still the same level
then
player.
who's your next wide receiver?
Well, they're going to draft them.
They're
going to draft
and they're very good at drafting.
Yeah.
Do it, Colts. You won't.
Hey, man, they got Pearson. They got,
I guess that's true.
And Pitt, at least a receiver anyway. We talk about the other positions. So, I really have a philosophy. And if you don't be able to get an elite level receiver in the draft, which is where the Titans are at now and probably won't do it this year either, then you do it by committee and get you a whole bunch of twos. And then now you go into a game that's really production. You don't know who is going to be. And that would, to me, would be the philosophy that I would, based off of where we're at today, I would probably live on that stand because I don't know if we can get a one, like a true one here in the next 2 or 3 years.
You're going to have to likely draft or trade for wide receiver one.
Yeah.
And at this point, you need to be focused on drafting. It doesn't have to be this year's draft. It could be next year's draft. I'm not a big fan of having to put it off. But, I mean, eventually the numbers are just the numbers. You're not going to be able to draft every player you want.
Well, answer this question with numbers. What is Dobbs' command on the free agency? And what is Ridley? Because they're talking about Ridley's $26 million. I don't think that's correct.
Romeo Dobbs is going to be, his market value is allegedly $12 million per year.
Oh, okay.
Now, Calvin Ridley, here's the thing about the cap hit, is that it's kind of getting in the weeds a little bit, so bear with me. We're in the third year of Calvin Ridley's contract. Mm-hmm. The third year is typically your biggest cap hit, right? Mm-hmm. So it's really about the cash.
But they can give them cash up front even to lessen the blow.
To lessen the blow. They can restructure it. Yeah, they can restructure it and all that kind of stuff.
Same amount of cash, no extra, but just they do give it to them early.
But they get the lower their cap hit. Mm-hmm. So, yes, he may get $12 million per year, talking about Romeo Dobbs, but his contract's $48 million. That will probably mean signing bonus, fully guaranteed money is going to amount to $20 million. Mm-hmm. Well, you're already paying Calvin Ridley $21.75 million in cash. So you're going to pay Romeo Dobbs $20 million in cash, Calvin Ridley in $21.75 million in cash. I think I'd rather pay Calvin Ridley one more year and ride it out and cut him again next year. I wouldn't mess with Calvin Ridley's contract. You can, but with your cap space situation, I wouldn't mess with it.
Would you sign Dobbs to $12 million?
I would still entertain signing Dobbs to $12 million. That's what's really weird, and that's another aspect of this whole trade thing that Adam Schefter brought up, because there's three other things actually too. But when we come back, we'll start talking about whether the Titans should be sellers, but also we'll go to Chuck in Clarksville. 615-737-1045. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 1045 The Zone.
Want to know about a place where European auto repair doesn't feel like European auto repair? Hayes Blaine Bishop will tell you that the moment you walk into Eurofix, you'll notice Eurofix is not your typical greasy garage. Waiting rooms are pristine. They're clean, comfortable, and inviting. You can even work there at the shop. Service areas are spotless is what I'm getting at. And why? Because Eurofix cares about everything, from how you are treated to how your vehicle is treated. And every repair comes with a rock-solid 3-year, 36,000-mile nationwide warranty on all repairs Eurofix performs, and at below dealer pricing. You don't have to put up with the dealer pricing or get ghosted when you're waiting in the waiting room or at home for a call back, because they can just go right up to you and tell you. As well as Eurofix fixes everything European, plus a rental car is available with every appointment. Locations in Nashville, Franklin, Belmead, Murfreesboro, and Mount Juliet, and more to come. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, or you can visit online at myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, 615-737-1045. We're talking a little bit of free agency. We're not doing our full deep dive into free agency and all that stuff. That will come later. We got a long ways to go and a lot of shows in between now and then before we try to do our free agency stuff. And I want to see a few people get cut, maybe get available. But we want to hear from you, 615-737-1045. Let's go to Chuck in Clarksville. Chuck, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey, guys. Not to get off of the free agent, but to get maybe toward the draft and some other free agents. I really like Oweh from the Chargers. I think he'd be a great addition for solid defense. You know, I think he had 8 or 10 sacks last year, had 8 or 10 sacks for Baltimore. He fits in that mold real well, and I like Travis Etienne. I think he'd be a great replacement for Tony Pollard and not be the $15 million back, but maybe the $8-9 million back that his production last year. I thought Jacksonville didn't utilize him near enough, and he still had 1,107 yards rushing and 13 touchdowns passing and receiving and running back. So I like those two right there. Free agents, it's just going to be I trust Borgonzi on that, but I like those two picks right there for free agents.
Yeah, those are some good picks. 'Cause I know a lot of people are talking about the Titans should sign Breece Hall and all these running backs, and I get it. All of those running backs provide you something a little bit different than Tony Pollard. One of those things is youth. Maybe it's a little bit more explosive ability, but at the same time, I just kind of look at this draft coming up, and I know I'm a big Jeremiah Love truther, and this is not a pro Jeremiah Love movement that I'm about to throw out there. But you can find guys on day 3 in this particular draft that I think will provide you just as much flexibility in the running back position.
Yeah, I keep bringing up the Penn State guy, but also the backup at Notre Dame behind your Love.
Yeah, I like the kid from Arkansas, Mike Washington Jr.
Yeah, he's solid.
Boy, go watch some film on that guy.
Watch that Tennessee game.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that Mike Washington Jr. kid has some, and he's got some good hands for pass catching, too.
There's some quality.
So there's some quality day 3 guys. Yeah. So, again, I will say this about the running back position. I do think that Cam Ward needs a run game right now. And I think the issue with last year was a lack of dedication to the run game. But also, we've talked about it ad nauseum. They couldn't really figure out how to use both Tony Pollard and Tyjae Spears. We've seen so many teams be able to use 2 running backs. You specifically have brought up a few times the Detroit Lions. David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs. How come they can use 2, but the Titans can't use 2? There's game plans all around the NFL. Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker, like you just mentioned. Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby, like the guy was Chuck just called in. I don't understand why this team has had a struggle with using 2 running backs. And really, Mike Vrabel kind of struggled with it, too. You hope that Brian Daboll can use 2. Now, I've seen him. You got Devin Singletary, Tyrone Tracy last year, both kind of split duty, but he leaned a little bit more on Tyrone Tracy. And he's been known to have a couple of different running backs, Devin Singletary and Zach Moss in Buffalo when they were both there at the same time. I don't know if Devin Singletary is a free agent. Maybe I need to be looking up at that. But he's been shown that he can use both. But this team's got, if you're going to keep Tony Pollard and Tyjae Spears, they got to start using Tyjae Spears more.
Well, what did you think about the ETN that he said?
I like the ETN idea. I really haven't looked at the running back free agents because I'm like,
I didn't even know he was a free agent.
I mean, my thing is that you have Tony Pollard.
Let's go look at his production first. I thought he missed games, not maybe this year, but in previous games.
He hasn't. He's missed some games, but he hasn't missed a lot of games.
But
so
that guy got some juice.
The big issue is that he kind of was a starter, then wasn't a starter, but he's been available.
Played pretty well.
He's been available and played snaps in 17 games, 3 of his 4 seasons. Okay. So he's been healthy.
Okay.
The other season was just 15 seasons last year in 2024. No, sorry, I guess I need to say last year, but 2024, ETN. He's gotten 1,000 yards in 3 of those seasons. That 2024 season was his worst season, 558 yards, 2 touchdowns, but he played in 100. He had 150 snaps.
But did he play? How many games did he win?
150 attempts. He only missed 2.
2 games he still
so something was wrong in that 2024 season before Liam Cohen took over. Probably why Jacksonville Jaguars fired their coach. And then here comes Liam Cohen, and he gets back on track again. So there is an opportunity there for Travis Etienne, but I also go back and look. I got so many tabs open. He's about $6.8 million market value. Okay, so that's not bad, right? And Tony Pollard, if you were to cut Tony Pollard, you would save around $7 million in cash. So you can use that cash towards, Travis Etienne. That's an upgrade.
ETN's going to want more than that.
He's going to be, That's what I'm saying. And that's the thing about this whole thing with Adam Schefter, and we'll talk about it coming up after the break. What Adam Schefter said about this being a high trade market, does that mean that these free agents coming up are going to be cheaper or more expensive? And that's something that we should talk about when we come back, because that really matters to the Tennessee Titans, because you don't kind of want to overpay. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
Dable.
Good afternoon from the Circus Sports of the Minn Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Ross Johnston. And some NFL and Titans news. The New York Giants are hiring former Titans head coach Brian Callahan as their new quarterbacks coach and passing game coordinator. Callahan helped coach quarterbacks at multiple stops throughout his career before becoming the Titans head man in 2024. Vanderbilt bounced back last night as they defeated Auburn 84-76 on the road. Tyler Tanner led the Commodores with 25 points, and Carolina transfer Jalen Washington chipped in 22. Vandy will host Texas A&M on Saturday. The Vols look to bounce back tonight as they head to Starkville to take on the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Tip-off is set for 8 p.m. Central, and you can listen to Vol Network's coverage of the game right here on The Zone starting at 7:30. For all your foundation repair, waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. And hey, tomorrow, it's your time to go kick some ice over at T-Line. Thursday, February 12th for the Sweep, Sip, and Snack Curling Challenge. Starting at 10 a.m., we'll be there live with the Buck Rising Show, followed by us, Cover 2 and 3HL. Grab your team, hit the ice, test your skills. $25 for discounted ice time for 30 minutes and an appetizer. Mm-hmm. If you have a significant other and you still need a Valentine's Day gift, I know it's a little early, but you could surprise them and only have to spend $50. That's pretty good. That's pretty good for Valentine's Day in Nashville to do $50 and something unique that no one else is doing with their significant others. So for more info to get tickets, 1045thezone.com/events. All right. So we've been kind of talking about free agency, and we're going to go to George here in just a second, 615-737-1045. And we're kind of talking about Adam Schefter and what he said about the trade market and stuff. And we're going to go back to that and listen to it one more time. And then we're going to talk about whether the Titans should be buyers and how this kind of trade market idea affects the price of some of these free agents. But first, let's go to George in Mount Juliet. George, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
So I had a question about, not about free agency, but about, you were talking about the running back situation. I didn't understand why later in the year we didn't try running this kid Mullins a lot more to see what we had in him, because he was hurt during the first part of the year. But he's a big kid. He's like 6'2", 230 pounds. He looked to me in the preseason, he runs a lot like Eddie George did. And I didn't understand why late in the season, when we obviously knew we weren't going anywhere, why they didn't put him in there in the place of Pollard and run him till his tongue hung out to try to find out what they had in him before we got to the point. Because now you don't know what you got in him, because you can't run him against a number one defense to see what he can do. Am I wrong there or what?
No, George, I think
you're right on. You're spot on with the tongue hanging out.
No, I don't really think, that
was great.
I don't really think George is wrong. I mean, at a certain point, you got to figure out what some of these younger guys can do. You can kind of know what now listen, Tony Pollard, it was trying to get some incentives. Right. So, I mean, obviously you don't want to just bench a guy, for 1 or 2 games and try to take away his chances. Some teams may, but you don't really want to do that, to try to take away his chances to get incentives. But could you have played Khalil Mullins a little bit more on 3rd and short, 4th and short, those kinds of plays? Sure. I do think there was a hard time of trying to find the correct way to use everybody and when to use them, how to use them, because I just don't know if this staff kind of really knew its roster as well as it should.
Well, not to make excuses for the coaching staff, but in this situation with Mullins, he did show flashes in preseason, and for preseason is what it is. but he got injured.
Yep.
And then now you kind of get out of the flow. I don't even think he dressed but the last like 3 or 4 games.
And he was just doing special teams. And he did come in for certain spots of those that we discussed.
Even though we weren't going anywhere, I think they wanted to show as the running game continued to progress throughout the season, as they started get into a flow and a rhythm. They just kind of wanted to stick with what was going, and they would spot play Mullins here or there, but not enough to, see what he had going on. To the caller's point, they wanted to see a little bit more. I think he'll get that opportunity next year. I think when you get injured and you kind of miss 10 games, that's tough to come in the middle of the season as a rookie player, and then the coaching staff to have faith in that you are ready to rock and roll unless they are forced to by injuries. That's just a tough deal. Like, somebody missed 10 games, you go, hey, man, hey, we dressing you, we're going to put you in special teams, but, we get in an emergency or short yardage situation, maybe we'll use you, if not. And so I think that's kind of what happened. It doesn't sound like that's a good deal. You should have just threw him out there. Well, you couldn't, because you weren't even sure what you had in them at this point in time, because you're trying to, interim head coach. You're trying to, service and show that you can he still had hope that he could be the head coach. So he wanted to see the production of players and improvement that this team was better than when he started as the head coach. So there's a lot of mechanism. I get where he's coming from, but I still I don't know if Mullins is a 1, 2, or 3 or not, or just a special teamer. Must remember, Mullins, he is big, kind of somewhat like Eddie George. Doesn't run like Eddie George.
Oh, he's built like a linebacker because he was a
linebacker, running back guy.
Which, by the way, he's still learning the running back position.
So, at the NFL level, for sure.
Yeah.
Because I think he only did 1 or 2 years at Michigan.
I think just 1 as a full-time running back. I don't know if he did it the year before he got drafted.
He even started at linebacker, didn't he?
Yeah.
So he may be a little trying to learn how to keep his pad level low, and everything else. So, I think he'll get an opportunity to show what he, has in preseason this year, though, as long as he stays healthy.
Yeah.
It may be the same situation. I mean, you can't be missing 10 games as a rookie. That's tough.
Let's listen back real quick. Let's kind of reset the show, but listen to what Adam Schefter had to say about the league's view of this free agent market and the draft class.
What can you tell us about the 2026 free agent class?
I've had GMs, front office executives, scouts who have been looking at this free agent class and saying, not a great class. These teams have done a great job at tying up their own players long-term and making sure that they don't get to free agency. When we talk about the draft, and we'll see how it shakes out over time, people aren't all that excited about the draft either. So we got a free agent class that's not real deep. We've got a draft that is not considered real deep. And you know what that tells me, Dan?
More trades?
That's what it tells me. It tells me we may get more wheeling and dealing in trades than we've had in other years. I don't know that it'll happen, but it certainly seems to be a trend in recent years. Teams have been more apt and open to make big trades. We saw it at the trade deadline. Each of the last few years, especially this past year, teams are unafraid about making a big deal. And with this free agent class, in the eyes of some, considered to be a little bit subpar, and with this draft class considered to be, in the eyes of some, a little subpar, it wouldn't surprise me if we saw an uptick in trade activity.
So, should the Titans be buyers? I mean, I feel like every team should be buyers with certain players to some point. Or sorry, not buyers, sellers. We've already talked about buyers. Okay. Should the Titans be sellers? Because I know that everybody has a price in the NFL. I mean, obviously, if you came, even for Jeffrey Simmons, if you came a knock and you offered 3 first-round picks, you're probably trading Jeffrey Simmons.
Oh, yeah.
So I know everybody's got a price, but how should they be actively shopping players, or should they just let the phone calls flow to them? I guess is the best way to put it. Because I feel like they should let the phone calls flow to them, because trading away a player right now sounds pretty good. Like, okay, trade away Tyjae Spears or Tony Pollard, one of the two. And maybe you get a 4th or a 5th round pick for them. That sounds pretty good, but then you also created another hole. How easy are you going to be able to fill that hole? So maybe running back's the worst example to use out of all that, but there's so many holes. So it's kind of like a catch-22. You're creating a hole while also getting a draft pick with a lottery ticket. Like a draft pick is kind of a lottery ticket depending on the round. You got someone proven or you got the lottery ticket. It's like the mystery box. So I I don't know if they should be
what you're saying. To follow you up, though, let's say the Titans trade Pollard.
Right.
Now they're drafting Love, so they created a hole. So guess what you missed out on?
Bain.
Yep. Or
Reese,
whoever, Bailey. Or
Downs,
whoever. Right.
A wide receiver. Now,
See,
but you're only picking up maybe a 5th round or 6th round player, which is not going to be the same as those players.
That's the tough call. That's why every team situation is a little bit different. That's why I keep saying that to me, they need to be more of a playoff contender team when you start doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, so because you're making more holes than you already have. So at the same time, so that's a tough call for me. I would just sit back, as you mentioned, and just let the phone ring and see who's interested in some of our players, because there are probably not a lot of players a lot of teams are interested in. Let's just be honest. So we're not giving up any of our young assets. And just like, let's say imagine this. One of some coach who's coached Moore Jr.
Yeah.
Say, hey, man, we'll give you a second for him. We're going to miss out in the second round.
I'd be running to the...
Well, maybe not that. But,
but you know what I'm saying.
Third, fourth, you know, and then now all of a sudden, you now need a left tackle.
Right.
So
and
you're
you
not
don't
winning.
know what you got.
Yeah, right. You already know what you got in this guy, but you don't know what you're going to get in the draft. You know, then you go draft the Miami guy or whoever's at the top of the draft, you know. So it's just, that's a tough call. I think I'd sit back and wait. I'd wait and see who, you know.
I just wouldn't trade anybody. I would put it this way.
I wouldn't say but I'm listening to all calls.
I wouldn't be the one wasting my time calling other teams to sell my pieces. I would let them come to me. Yep. Because I just think that like Cody Barton, if someone were to call for Cody Barton, who's on the last year of his contract, and said, hey, we need a linebacker. Here's a 6th round pick.
Contract, is he?
I believe so.
I believe he signed a 3-year deal. This is first year.
Oh, yeah, I guess this is. Sorry.
I'm just making sure.
No, you're right.
I may be wrong.
You're right.
Okay.
You're right. I forgot they have a 1 year out, so I didn't add the other year. You are correct. It is a 3-year deal. But let's say someone wants to trade. They have an out. So let's say someone does call and want to trade him for a 6th round pick. I would trade Cody Barton for a 6th round pick. No doubt. But like if you're calling for Big Jeff and you're only offering me like a 2nd round pick, I'm hanging up the phone. I'm just not out there shopping Big Jeff right now. I'm not out there shopping any of these guys. And I know people want to sell, like I see Mike Bell, sell in the F&M Bank chat, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live. But then you have nobody and you're back at the same thing. Like at some point, we got to understand, in a rebuild, you have to have good players to build around.
You have to have foundational guys.
and
from the current players to new players, the foundation still got. You can't get rid of everybody. That's just
like if you're telling me if I can have Dan Moore or Max Ionichor and maybe in the 2nd or 3rd round, I'm still sticking with Dan Moore because I know what he is in the NFL. And at the very, very worst, he's an average guy. He sometimes he has slightly above average games, sometimes he has below average games, but at the very least, he is average. He's shown this year that he was average. I would rather to have that than to take a chance on a rookie tackle that may not be NFL ready, who's, by the way, only, and I guess I'm picking on Max Ionichor here, but he's like a 2nd round guy, but he's only played for 4 years of college football. That's the only 4 years of football he's played. So, like, you're taking it, that's the thing with the draft and creating holes. Yeah.
Oh.
And, like, you don't want to create.
I'm going to tell you how they think. He got a lot of upside.
Oh, he does? Well, I think that's Arvell Reese's whole deals. There's a lot of upside
That's what they think. I think like you. Hey, man, I got to see it to believe it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is, like, at this point in time, if you were wanting, I know we're using Dan Moore and even Tony Pollard, Tajay Spears, but if you're wanting Cam Ward to have the best supporting cast possible, unless you are upgrading Dan Moore with a left tackle that has played NFL left tackle at a higher, better level, it's better to keep Dan Moore than, and I'm not, like, there's some people that think that put in mock drafts the Titans selecting a tackle with the number 4 overall pick. I'm sorry. I've seen this draft class.
That was Matt Miller, wasn't it?
I believe is Matt Miller, but no, he had him in the 2nd round. I think it was Daniel Jeremiah.
Oh, it was a big name guy.
It was a big name guy. I'm sorry, but if their draft board plays out where the best player at 4, the 4th best player is a tackle, fire him up because he's not the 4th best player. I mean, like, there's no tackle in this draft class that's the 4th best player. So at this point, like, you're kind of stuck with Dan Moore for a year. We knew that when they signed him, that you're stuck with Dan Moore for 2 years. But that's also the whole point of Dan Moore, is that at least you're not getting on a week-to-week, every game basis, bad performances. And so you'd rather have Dan Moore, you'd rather have J.C. Latham at your tackles, you'd rather have Skoronski at left guard, and you probably will keep Lloyd Cushenberry at center. And I know that may not sound very attractive, but at least there is continuity on the offensive line, and all you got to replace is possibly one player. Instead of last year where you're kind of moving around a couple different pieces for the 4th year in a row. So I'm just to the point where I'm letting them call me. I'm not the one making the calls.
Yeah, and I just don't know how many. I mean, would people?
And your phone's not going to ring.
I just don't know if a lot of people, like playoff contending teams, that think they're, hey, they need depth, or this guy we like and fits our scheme and our system. He would help us out a lot. So that's why I bring up Pollard, or I don't know if anybody would be interested really, because he's coming off of an injury. But there may be some teams. You just never know. But not a lot out there that I think either we're not going to give up. I mean, like Cedric Gray.
Right.
Oh, so we're going to trade Cedric Gray? Oh,
then your linebacker room's way
only
worse.
If they believe that he doesn't fit this new scheme and system, right? So I just don't see a lot of trading going on.
And to be honest, this defensive system is a little bit less static than I think what people want to give it credit for, because of what Robert Saleh showed in San Francisco's ability to adapt to not only different players, but a week to week to different opponents. So I don't think it's as static as people think. It's not the old rigid cover 3, Seattle 3. There's some foundational aspects of that, but it's a little bit different. But to your point, they may not view certain players as fits. But boy, oh boy, you better hit on whoever you do think is a fit.
That's why I said I would play along with this one. I would not.
I just am not for creating holes and hopefully filling them in the draft, or possibly overpaying in free agency, which is what we'll talk about, and how this trade comments from Adam Schefter may affect the market. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
Naturally, this is for all those people who had that New Year's resolution. I'm going to lose some of those LBs. I'm going to go to the gym all the time, and I'm going to make sure I get these LBs off. Well, it's February, and you still haven't done what you're supposed to do. Hey, you got to have some discipline. But guess what? You know who can help you? Edge Peptide Hormone Therapy. And their approach to weight loss at Edge Peptide Hormone Therapy is a little bit different. We make sure all your patients have extensive lab work and face-to-face conversations in office with our nurse practitioner to create a customized treatment plan tailored to your specific needs. They use U.S.-based FDA-audited compounding pharmacies, because knowing where your peptides come from always matters. And Edge walks through the process, guiding your treatment plan, answering your questions, and supporting you along the way. You also get to enjoy the access to their in-body scanner to track weight loss and make sure you're maintaining the muscle mass that you put on, as well as you get to lower your A1C, keeping your cravings in check. And boy, do I make sure I need to do that, and prioritize protein and having someone guide your journey from start to finish. And all you have to do is call the team at Edge Peptide for all your wellness questions at 615, of course, 724-1878. That's 724-1878. Or you can check them out online at edgepeptide.com.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. A subpar free agency is how the league views this upcoming free agent market, according to Adam Schefter, as it sits right now.
According to Cam Ward, it's just mid.
Is mid.
What's below mid?
Ass.
What's above mid?
What is above mid?
Ross.
I don't know.
Kroll, what's above mid? You're young too.
Aight. Like it's aight.
Okay.
What would you say?
Aight? Oh, that doesn't sound good.
It's appropriate, Kroll says.
Yeah, aight. That sounds like mid.
Yeah.
Aight.
I guess that's one step above mid. But, I mean, how I kind of view that as, okay, then teams are going to be in danger of overpaying for mid talent.
Yep.
Which happens in free agency a lot.
More junior.
Yeah. But, at the end of the day, I don't know if this is the class I want to be doing that in. And I just think I think it's very interesting that I look at some of the market value for some of these players. Like yesterday, we talked about Reek Woolen from the cornerback from Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, right.
And they had him at $8 million. And then around 10 o'clock last night, you send us a tweet that says that, well, maybe 1 year, $12 million. And I'm kind of thinking, okay, a 1 year deal for either 1 year, $8 million, 1 year, $12 million. That still seems really cheap for a guy that's proven to be a starting outside corner in the NFL. Yeah. Now, he's not L'Jarius Sneed or anything when L'Jarius Sneed was at the height of his powers. But that seems pretty inexpensive. And I'm wondering if maybe this trade market's going to drop the value, or is it going to up the value? I lean a little bit of a drop in value, but I could see there's going to be one or two players where we're going to be scratching our head like, you paid how much for who? Mm-hmm. Kind of like Odafe Oweh, like the guy brought up. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're talking about scheme fits and all that kind of stuff.
Pass rusher. Uh-huh.
Pass rusher from Baltimore Ravens, 10 sacks in 2024. Through the first 5 games in 2025, 0 sacks.
And I saw him live at the Texas game. And they whooped the Texans, and I don't remember him getting a sack.
He did not. And then he goes to his brother, to John Harbaugh's brother's team, Jim Harbaugh, and ends up with 7.5 sacks. So, like, I mean, again,
what?
Which guy are you getting if you were to sign him?
If I'm the coach of the Ravens, I'm like, we traded that guy?
And they got a real good pass rush specialist, right? Because they have that, what's his name, Chuck Smith?
Yeah, Chuck Smith. Well, he's not with him now, but yeah.
Yeah, he was.
He was. Yeah, no doubt. It's all right. And they had increased their sacks a year before when he did have those 10 sacks. So I don't know what happened. Now some players, you just got to know who you're dealing with. They have a good year and they kind of relax.
Yeah. And I think that's why a lot of teams stick with players that they may know from previous stops.
Yeah, that happens. But 0 sacks going through 5 games is kind of that's below mid.
But like, could you see Oweh going back to Baltimore because Jesse Minter's there now?
Yeah,
like
that's a great point.
You know what I mean?
I didn't even think about that.
Minter's probably like, hey, I just got this guy to play at a really high level in a shorter time span for me, and he's familiar with Baltimore. He might not even have sold his house.
Coach was, and I don't know who it was, but you never know. I don't know, man. That was. I didn't, man. Dang, he seemed like he was a solid player. Like he is. He's a 8 to 10 sack guy.
Yeah.
What was he consistently over his career?
Oh, not good.
So adding those two good years, though, he's probably, a 7
So he was drafted in 2021, as I have to verify that I'm a human on the stat website.
Okay.
So he's drafted in 2021. So in 2021, he had 5 sacks his rookie year.
Okay.
2022, 3 sacks.
Ooh.
2023, 5 sacks. Now, this is when he's a rotational player. So he's not a full-time starter. I mean, he played in 15 games, started 2. Played in 17 games, started 6. Played in 13 games, started 5. Then in 2024, played in 17 games, started 10, got 10 sacks. In 2025, he played in 17 games, only started in 4, and ended up with 7.5 sacks, which all came with the Chargers, where he played in 12 games, started 2. So he's never been truly a consistent starter.
So that's 30.5 sacks over a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-year window. So he averages
6.6 a season.
6 sacks. So that's what he is.
And his market value, okay, what do you think his market value is per year? Pass rusher, 6.5 sacks per year, 6.6 sacks per year.
What was Harold Landry's? And he was an 8 sack guy with the Patriots.
He was getting paid. Where's it at? $14.5 million.
So I'm gonna go 11.
They have his market value. I can't believe it. Actually, $19.3 million per year.
No way. You would give him that, Ross?
No, but if he took lower, I'd bring him in.
$19.3 million.
His agent's telling him right now, hey, man, hey, you get 19. I mean, after I subtract my 3%, you get whatever that number is.
Well, let me say this, too. Remember when the Tennessee Titans signed Arden Key?
Yes.
And then that he was kind of in this similar situation.
He got
less.
He got $7 million a year.
Yeah, he got way less. Mm-hmm. So that's where I would be kind of targeting Odafe Owe in that range. If you're paying this guy $19.3 million, he's going to have to provide you 17 games of starts. And he's never done that in a year.
I'm a pump the brakes.
Okay.
Based off of where the Titans are, I'm assuming they're going to pick a pass rusher with number 4. That's an assumption. So let's assume that. All righty. Do you think, and then we got Femi coming back, do you think the young players that played on the outside that are coming back, we're talking about Harrow and, can they get you 6 sacks as role players? Because then I wouldn't be doing that with him. I wouldn't sign Oluwaye.
What did Jalen Harrell get you last year?
He improved 5-6 sacks. I think
Jihad,
that's what he was.
right? Like, didn't Jihad end up getting like 5 or so?
In a short window, then they traded him.
I mean, Jalen Harrell in 2 starts got you 4.5 sacks. Now, he played all 17 games, but he didn't really play all 17 games on defense. Remember, he's been a special teams guy, so he didn't really start rotating in on defense till the midway point of the season.
So what the other guy get?
Jihad Ward.
Yeah. Like, we already got guys like this guy. I think.
Now, you'd have to re-sign Jihad Ward, which I would. Hands up, no doubt.
I would sign him.
5 sacks.
Right. So I'm signing what I know.
Femi Oladejo will likely get you maybe 5 sacks this year.
Mm-hmm. He's 6 sacks is what it says his career is.
And so I'm just not in on, I like Odafe Awe. At that price, no way.
Yeah.
That is kind of crazy.
What about 12 mil?
Yeah, 12 mil. I think that's fine because then your pass rush is looking a lot better, right?
But then you're stunning the growth if you draft a pass rusher with 4. Where or now are you putting Femi?
Well, see, that's the thing. Is Femi more of a, one of the linebackers because he played linebacker in college, but is he better as one of the linebackers with James Williams, Cedric Gray on the outside? Then maybe he goes into the 5 spot on certain passing downs and stuff like that. Maybe of all the people that they don't think is a fit, maybe it's Femi Oladejo. Because he probably
I'm going to say this right now. Femi Oladejo is not a linebacker in the National Football League.
Yep.
He is too heavy-footed, and he is a pass rusher, and he's got to get on the field to see what we got. He was a second-round pick. So how much are you willing to say we're going to have a guy starting? He's going to be one of our rotational with Harrell and all these other guys. Or do you go Ward and say, hey, man, he will understand it's a veteran guy. He doesn't care as long as he gets his, 7, 8, 9
And he's kind of played defensive tackle. He's played defensive end. He's played stand-up outside linebacker.
What does Saleh think of him?
Yeah.
Does he fit what he thinks?
I would think so because he's a multiple player kind of guy.
Multi-tooled player, yes.
I would say another guy that I do like that I just want to mention, Boy Mafe, the pass rusher from Seattle. He is going into free agency more than likely. As this said, he averages 5.2 sacks a game. And he is $11 million cheaper, or 5.2 sacks a season.
Is he a D tackle?
He's a outside linebacker.
Oh, what number was he?
He was number 53. So he had a little bit of positional flexibility there too.
He's kind of like a Ward. Yeah,
he's kind of like Ward.
Yeah,
but he's 5.5 sacks per season, and he's $11 million cheaper per year market value than Odafe Owe. And this is a guy that probably he's started more games. So but again, to your point, how much are you willing to sacrifice some maybe player development to get a big free agent? Because remember, you were a big proponent of this and you talked about it a few times, but like everybody's like, well, it should be a 50-50 split between Tyjae Spears and Tony Pollard when Tony Pollard got signed, but he got signed all that money. Mm-hmm. And if you get signed all that money,
right.
You're playing more than Femi Oladejo.
They have to justify giving you that money. That's what dictates who play or not.
Right.
There's dudes that were backups that were better than some starters at certain positions, and they were like, that guy's starting.
Yeah. And listen, Salah's going to, as someone brings this point up, Salah's going to rotate the line, and he is going to rotate that line. So you have to have many different types of pass rushers, but you're also trying to justify draft picks. And you're trying to justify free agency money spent. So you got to figure that out, that balance, and who's going to get more snaps. Because Femi Oladejo, broken fibula, right? Is that in your leg?
Yeah.
Ankle, high ankle.
Yeah. So, you kind of broke that. You fractured that, whatever the wordage, the words on that got kind of weird towards the end. But how far back is he behind on his development? And then he's going to have to learn a little bit of a new system with a little bit of new responsibilities. A little bit easier for defenders, I think, to go from. But he was also a guy that just transitioned to edge in college and now is transitioning to edge in the NFL. Now he's probably going to have to transition to defensive end in the NFL, which is totally different types of skill sets, right?
Yeah.
He's going to be asked to do different things.
Rotational guy? Or is he just
I don't think he should have been drafted in the second round. I think he was when you have a project, you don't draft projects in the first and second rounds in my mind. That's not how I would go about roster building. So that's why I have a hard time wrapping my head around the Femi Oladejo pick, because he's obviously a project. Those guys should be your day 3 picks, your project picks. Now, would he have been there in day 3? Probably not. But that's how I view it. So it will be interesting to see how much they can get him up to speed. Aaron Whitecotton, right? His likely position coach at this point. Very good developer of talent over the years. Proven. How quick can he get Femi Oladejo up to speed? Because we talked about that yesterday. Position coaches play a lot in the role of the development, right? So how quick can he do it? And how can he do it? Like, it's not just how quick can Aaron Whitecotton do it, but how can Femi Oladejo do it?
But you do have a little bit out with Femi. Yeah. With the injury, you say, hey, we're going to play this along and see how it goes, but we got to protect ourselves and maybe give us a solid starter, nothing spectacular where you go sign a guy for $7, $8, $9 million. And he starts and Femi kind of rotates till he gets more comfortable with his ankle. Buy yourself a little more time to see if he can become under the solid scheme and coaching, his position coach, become a more impactful player.
Yeah. See, I think all this to say the Tennessee Titans need homegrown talent. The Seattle Seahawks, Los Angeles Rams, I think most people consider the best 2 teams in the playoffs. They had 37 of their 53 were homegrown talent. Drafted players and initial undrafted free agents that they signed
I thought you were
first.
talking about they're from LA and Seattle.
No.
I'm just kidding.
The Rams had 34, 28 drafted players, 6 undrafted free agents that they signed first. And I look at those 2 teams and they build them up. And that's what this team needs to start doing. And so, again, I kind of look at free agency. I think everybody's kind of expecting that they're going to go on a shopping spree at Nordstrom when really they're probably going to buy some discounted, merch, some clothes, some outfits that still look good, that still work, but they're probably from TJ Maxx.
Where did you say it first?
Nordstrom.
Oh, no. They're going to Nordstrom Rack.
They're going to Nordstrom Rack.
Outlet.
Outlet shopping.
Lebanon.
The outlet.
Yeah. Because I think
they
that's
just put
fine
one
to
out there in
do.
Brentwood, man.
Now, if there's a good deal that comes along and there's a player, an unexpected player that hits free agency.
That would be the smart route.
That'd be the smart route. But it's you got to fill as many holes as you can in free agency to limit the holes that you have to draft in the draft, right? To do that, you have to spend your money wisely. And it's not just about the cap space, people. It's about the cash that they spend generally, which is around, as a whole roster, around $280 million, okay? As a whole roster. Draft picks, free agents, players that they already have, extensions that they do. That's roughly what they spend a season. That's kind of the realm that you're living in. They've already got 160 of that wrapped up, 160,000 or 160 million of that wrapped up in current contracts. Mm-hmm. Then you got about 39 million that needs to be set aside for your draft picks. So you're already way up there in what you normally spend. So I just don't think that they're going to be making these big splashes. It's going to be a bunch of little splashes, maybe similar to last year, but maybe more of them this year. Maybe a step up from those guys. So instead of maybe some C+ players, you're getting B+ players, where you got B+ players last year.
Any one
you're
player
A-.
that you would love for them to sign, even though it may be a big contract, that's a free agent at any position? Well, any position.
Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, because I know a lot of people get excited about the idea of Kyle Pitts. I like the idea of Kyle Pitts, but I don't know if I'm really willing to spend the money to bring him here.
Well, no. It starts here. How much does Daboll use the tight ends?
Yeah.
Because you got to get your bang for your buck. If they're not going to throw to the tight ends a lot.
Right.
Or is he says, I can work with Pitts. He tells the organization's GM, hey, I can make this work. Then you go out on a limb as a GM and you go get him.
Yeah.
I just don't know if they use, Daboll.
Yeah.
Uses the tight end like that.
I just can't think of anybody that it really necessitates
He is an exceptional talent.
Big splash. You could talk me into the center Tyler Linderbaum from the Baltimore Ravens. Doesn't look like he may get. It's going to take a big splash. Now, you just did a big splash with Lloyd Cushenberry, so you'd have to cut him 2 years ago. But that shouldn't scare you away from doing a big splash again. And that's a guy that I kind of feel like is someone that should be on the radar for the Tennessee Titans at the right price. But again, he's an exceptional talent, a proven talent in this league, and they're just hitting contract negotiation walls in Baltimore right now. We'll see what happens when it gets closer to free agency.
We shall see.
Yeah, we shall see. Coming up next, we're going to go to your phones. We're going to go to Darren and Brentwood and whoever else is calling in right now. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
Naturally, this is for all those people who had that New Year's resolution. I'm going to lose some of those LBs. I'm going to go to the gym all the time, and I'm going to make sure I get these LBs off. Well, it's February, and you still haven't done what you're supposed to do. Hey, you got to have some discipline. But guess what? You know who can help you? Edge Peptide Hormone Therapy. And their approach to weight loss at Edge Peptide Hormone Therapy is a little bit different. We make sure all your patients have extensive lab work and face-to-face conversations in office with our nurse practitioner to create a customized treatment plan tailored to your specific need. They use U.S.-based FDA-audited compounding pharmacies because knowing where your peptides come from always matters. And Edge walks through the process of guiding your treatment plan, answering your questions, and supporting you along the way. You also get to enjoy the access to their in-body scanner to track weight loss and make sure you're maintaining the muscle mass that you put on, as well as you get to lower your A1C, keeping your cravings in check. And boy, do I make sure I need to do that. And prioritize protein and having someone guide your journey from start to finish. And all you have to do is call the team at Edge Peptide for all your wellness questions at 615, of course, 724-1878. That's 724-1878. Or you can check them out online at edgepeptide.com.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door. 615-737-1045 is the number. Let's go to the phones. We've been talking about free agency and the Tennessee Titans. Let's go to the phones. Go to Darren and Brentwood. Darren, you're on Blaine and Zach.
What's up, guys? Hitman, you're the best.
Appreciate it.
I got a little analogy for what I look at free agency like in the NFL. It's like my kid has $100 to spend for his birthday, and I take him to the mall, and he could buy the $90 pair of shoes and have $10 left, or he could buy a shirt, shoes, some socks. I think that's what the Titans kind of need to do, is kind of sprinkle it around, get some depth at some positions, and then focus on the draft more than anything. And a secondary question real quick. If I had showed you and Blaine the Titans coaching staff 3 months ago, after all the talk and who was going where, what would you have graded it in regards to your expectations? If you are more impressed than you thought you'd be, or less, or right around where you thought you'd be? And I'll hang up and listen, guys. Thank you.
That's a good question, Darren. I think I'm a little bit more impressed with the coaching staff as it sits than what I would have expected under Robert Saleh. I mean, the defense is about where it was at, but I mean, getting Gus Bradley and that extra experience is a boon. But I think getting Brian Dable is the biggest get of them all, and maybe really could be Carmen Bracillo, the offensive line coach. But I'm really impressed with Brian Dable and that hire. And so I would say that I'm more impressed with the coaching staff.
I was hopeful that we got just some, proven coaches based off of what we've come off of with the previous hire. So you wanted someone with some experience. So we got that all over the place, whether you're going to say they had success as head coaches or not. So I feel like now we have 3 head coaches. So, I'm excited. I see a lot of people giving bad grades. These guys who cover, the NFL, national writers, giving the Titans bad grade on their hire. I mean, like, I've seen D's, and I'm like, man, I would give it a B, a solid B for sure. Like, man,
because part of being head coach is assembling a staff, and I don't know. I kind of look at all these other staffs, and I'm like, I'd put this staff up against most of them.
I put just bet against the Giants and Harbaugh's.
Yeah, I'd rather have this staff than Stefanski's staff.
Yeah, see, that's what I said. So we shall see. You still got to get production out of the players, and so now this step here. But yeah, I'm excited about the staff, as I've said before. Is now, you got to, see the players and how quickly they can get up to speed.
And what has Robert Saleh actually learned and changed and adapted from his last time? I mean, he doesn't have to change everything, right? I mean, some things did work.
I think that's why some people are a little hesitant, because I think the people or the national guys are just kind of looking at their record, his record as a head coach. Now, sometimes you have a second guy go around. You would know the stats better than me, but you also are in a learning process. So what did you learn, and how are you now going to be different or better based off better circumstances, you hope?
Yeah.
And you get to kind of build your team. So be a big part of that. So I think and
a lot of people blame the quarterback situation up there. And theoretically, this is a better quarterback situation than what you had with Zach Wilson.
It is.
So, and now you got Brian Dable, definitely a better play caller than Mike LaFleur. So I don't know. Like, I kind of think that there's some good reasons to be excited, but it's not going to be perfect, like Larissa said yesterday. All right, let's go to Philly Mike. Philly Mike, take us home.
All right, what's going on, guys?
What's up?
Hey, just want to ask you guys a question. I'm sure that the NFL was looking at the city of Nashville over the past couple of weeks or so as they prepared to give the next set of cities for the Super Bowl. Jim Wyatt has said yesterday that he feels that it will be pushed back to either 31 or 32, saying that the city needs more time. But I really think that Roger Goodell and the owners observed how the city responded to help people with power, so forth and so on, because this could have been our Super Bowl this year. Blaine has a great example of Atlanta when that ice storm hit back in 2000, Titans and Rams. You couldn't get around the city of Atlanta, and hopefully that won't happen here. What are your guys' thoughts on the city of Nashville? Will they learn from this to prepare in case that happens when we get the Super Bowl? And I'll hang up and listen, guys.
I mean, that's a good question. I know there's a lot of people without power, a lot of politics tied into it and all that kind of stuff. I mean, hopefully everybody first got to commend the city of Nashville. I mean, even Airbnb, the citizens of Nashville, but Airbnb, everybody helping out the neighbors, Airbnb offering free houses for those that were without power was exceptional, and all that kind of stuff. The city, no city I feel like that I've been lived in, even Memphis, comes together better during some kind of weather crisis than
doubt.
Nashville. The flood, the tornadoes, the ice storms, no better city and citizens come together. The infrastructure issue definitely has to be, planned out for future ice storms because you never know when one's going to pop up. And, they definitely need to learn from it, definitely need to be more prepared and take these things a little bit more seriously before it happens and then not be caught behind. Because this thing, we all knew that it was going to have a huge potential to be an ice storm of epic proportions for a week and a half.
Yeah, I didn't know about like the power and the trees and everything else because we've had ice before and snow. I didn't know it was going to get to that level, but it sort of seemed like we all knew and we still weren't prepared. Maybe it was just more than they could handle. So that, lesson learned. And then you say, okay, hopefully something like that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen very often.
No, it
so
doesn't.
How do you prepare? And it was like, I'd get off the bus. I bust my butt in Atlanta for the Super Bowl. I was like, oh, man, this is crazy. And I'm talking about just on a daily get off the bus, go to your hotel after practice.
It Ice Storm 94,
so they weren't
right?
ready for it.
Yeah. I don't know. There's only so much you can be ready for as well. Mm-hmm. So that's the other thing. I think the NFL would be way more worried about, do you have the right amount of hotels? Do you have the right traffic infrastructure? That's what they're really more worried about because you can't control the weather. You can't really predict the weather that far out in advance when you're playing in the Super Bowl.
Can predict Mother Nature now.
Nope. All right, that will do it for us. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. 3HL's up next. But in the meantime.
And in between time.
Peace.